Hello, my name is Yugan Kim. I am founding partner at IKD, a certified NBE architectural design firm based in Boston. I will be speaking on behalf of our entire team, which includes my business partner Tomomi Itakura, Anna Stevens, and Julie Kress. Personally, I have deep roots here in Cambridge, going to graduate school almost 20 years ago, and presently live only 8 blocks from the project site with my wife and daughter. I feel so fortunate to live in such a progressive and inclusive community like Cambridge, and am excited to have the opportunity to share our ideas with all of you, as I have a truly vested interest in the community growth of Cambridge. Our project is inspired by the beloved apple tree that is on the edge of the playground that is planned to be removed due to the construction of the new school. After speaking with the students at the scheduled interviews, we learned of one specific tree that all the students know as a place to congregate, play, and create memories together. Our project responds to the loss of this tree and will attempt to continue the legacy of community, play, and participation that the tree has long established and has crystallized over time, now embedded within the very DNA of the overall experience. As we began our research early in the year, we found to our joy, through the incredible Cambridge City GIS system, that the tree was in fact identified as a tree that bears apples, which we all know is closely intertwined with the history of American education. After learning this, it confirmed our original instinct that this tree must somehow be incorporated into our project. The apple, also known to some as the fruit of knowledge, was originally given to teachers from students when it was the responsibility of families to provide food to frontier teachers, and then later became the student bribe for a better grade. We also looked at the botanical history of the tree, learning that it can grow somewhere between 14 and 39 feet tall, have a lifespan of somewhere between 50 to 100 years, and are not grown from seed, but from cuttings known as grafts, truly disappointing my childhood memories of the story of Johnny Appleseed. As we learned more about the school project, we also learned that in addition to the apple tree, over 94 of the 129 existing trees on site are slated to be removed due to the coordination issues for the construction. Amongst these are 5 very large old-growth pin oak trees that represent a significant percentage of biomass that has been long sequestering carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We understand that the city, the design and construction team, and the community have been in continual dialogue about retaining as many trees as possible on the site and recognize the difficult balance of building a fully functional 21st century school and limiting the impact to the existing trees on the site. It is important to know that we are not strictly against the cutting of trees when it's necessary. While trees can provide critical support to the world when growing as a tree, we believe that trees as building material can also provide additional benefits in its afterlife as a carbon sink and educational tool, as well as provide biophilic experience to all in its lumbered state. Our hope, if awarded the project, is to utilize all available pin oak trees on site that are planned to be removed, process it to our project specifications by kiln drying it to a specific moisture content, and cut into dimensional lumber as the project requires. This, of course, is contingent on coordination with the city and construction team, as well as evaluation of the timber itself from a structural and material stability standpoint. If not available, viable, or sufficient, our plan would be to work with the Cambridge arborist and area town arborist to identify alternative and responsible sources of timber for use in our own project. The other more essential ingredient to our project is the beloved apple tree. Our plan was to take cuttings from the tree itself, working with experienced grafters at Mount Auburn and the Harbor Arboretum, and then graft somewhere between 25 to 100 cuttings to literally regrow the same tree. After a short period of time where the grafts stabilize at the area greenhouse, we will select students and other interested members of the community to host the adolescent plants, nurturing them over the next few years at their own homes, having them directly participate in the rebirth of the beloved tree, and assist in a meaningful way to the realization of the project so they truly can see a part of themselves within the design. Our hope is that a number of the students and families that will be displaced in swing spaces over the next few years during the construction period can take a piece of the school home with them while they are being educated elsewhere. Each greenhouse would also keep some plantings, as I will at my own home. Grafting, for those who are not familiar, is an age-old process where cuttings from one tree are attached or grafted to another root structure to allow for new growth and new life. It is a technique that gardeners and arborists have been doing for centuries, and in most cases, all apple trees in the modern world come from grafting. While our plan was to possibly take cuttings in the fall, on July 28, 2021, we received an urgent call that the apple tree was planned to be cut down the following day, and we immediately went to the site and secured cuttings, also learning that the tree actually is a graft between an edible apple tree and a crab apple tree. We did so knowing that we may not be awarded the project, as we believe so deeply in the need to preserve the memory of this particular tree in some fashion. While not the optimal period to take cuttings for a graft, we are working with experienced grafters to increase the percentage success rate and allow for a pathway to realize the project if awarded. If all goes to plan, families would host the trees until earlier the same year as the reopening of the school. We would then plan on selecting a number of community nurtured trees to be planted on the site, while the remaining viable trees could either be planted at the host homes, or our hope would be to reach out to other less affluent communities than Cambridge and share the adolescent trees. We do so as we recognize the importance of the tree canopy here in Cambridge and in all urban conditions, that it is one of the possible parts of mitigating the impacts of climate change as outlined in the recent Alewife District Plan released by the City of Cambridge. We also recognize that we are all so very fortunate to live here in Cambridge, which has such stringent regulations in protecting trees and an ample city budget. We feel that it is our responsibility, considering the global economy outside the Cambridge city limits, as we should strive to be and show our children what a responsible citizen of the world should do. As we walked the project site as a team, we gravitated to the northwest corner where we wanted to intervene with our project. The site overall is incredibly interesting, as it has two public faces being a through block site, and at the intersection between a densely populated residential zone and a mixed use zone that is clearly in a period of transition and wanting to find its own identity. Additionally, we know that Concord Ave really is the first exit from the Alewife Brook Parkway from Route 2 and I-95 for those going into Harvard Square and deeper into Cambridge proper, providing daily visibility to numerous commuters. Our hope is to develop a scheme which celebrates this entry into Cambridge, as well as celebrate the new school with some sort of gateway structure. Looking more closely at the proposed site and circulation, our focus is on the shared walking and bicycle path of the school and the larger community as proposed in the recent Envision Alewife Plan. Our proposed site resides at the intersection between public and semi-public zones, providing safe access to both the school and larger community of Cambridge. Our proposal recognizes the need for different types and speeds of experience that are calibrated to the existing conditions of the site. We have established 3 different zones of experiences where the community can rest, learn, play, and celebrate. Our project is also inspired by and echoes the roots of the trees that frequently are ignored, as they are out of sight and out of mind, but make up to 25% of the entire tree biomass volume. Also known as the Wood Wide Web, a different type of social network I think we all prefer our children to be aware of after this long COVID hibernation. Tree roots provide nourishment, support, and communication with one another that spread far beyond the canopy of the tree. On our walks, we would see roots pop up randomly and wonder which tree they were from, thus changing our interpretation of the site itself and making us aware and activating our perception of the ground below. This is a conceptual site section of our project. As you can see, there are 3 zones identified, which are the playscape, the exhibition, and the gateway, all conceptually connected together and inspired by tree roots. Starting with the gateway, our hope is to add an iconic structure to act as a project icon, marking the first entry into Cambridge for commuters and residents of Cambridge traveling in cars. In the thought bubbles, you can see our aspirations of how our project will hopefully transform the experience on the site. We do recognize, however, that this portion of the project will be challenging to realize due to the availability of the pin oak wood, city regulations, and community impact, and would enjoy working further with all stakeholders to find a way to celebrate the school and entry into Cambridge. Next, between the fast and slow spaces, we'd like to propose a series of pieces one could sit on, people watch, or root on the soccer match. Additionally, there would be a series of educational display walls where visitors could learn more about our project, the benefit of trees, and the incredible new school. We do have a long experience developing educational content around trees and timber construction, working with a number of institutions, the U.S. Forest Service, the USDA, and timber industry leaders. Our hope is to educate people about the benefit of trees at every stage of its life and highlight its almost symbiotic relationship with living creatures. This is one example of how content may be developed, but if awarded, with a much more Cambridge-specific focus. Now focusing on the playscape portion, our hope is that our project invites a range of impromptu activities similar to what the beloved apple tree inspired. To realize this goal, after the hosted grafted apple trees are selected, they will be planted on site prior to the reopening of the school, with our playscape installation providing protection and support initially inspired by typical 2x4 tree construction barriers and traditional tree apple support apparatus. The playscape installation itself will be made up of reclaimed pin oak, processed to be fabricated as glulam members, and will begin reestablishing the legacy of the beloved apple tree, creating a new sense of place and opportunity for new memories to be made. As the tree grows, local arborists will train tree branches at agreed upon intervals to grow in a specific fashion in an effort to allow visitors to safely sit on the tree itself once it reaches maturity. Our hope is that over time, while the tree canopy provides needed shade to its users, there will be a blurring of what is art and what is nature. Once the pin oak playscape installation has reached its end of material life, the tree will have long reached maturity and alone can continue the sense of place and community that our playscape has reestablished over time. We liken this multi-year process to being similar to what it's like for educators and parents raising its children to become strong, self-sufficient, and eventually independent. This is a time lapse of the multi-phase project. Here is a proposed project timeline. We believe in community participation and have proposed frequent visits within the project developing process to hold presentations and receive feedback from all stakeholders so there is sufficient time to incorporate new ideas into the final product. Here is an example of construction documentation of the playscape area. We have located the concrete footings to be away from the tree root balls and allow for healthy growth, as well as consider approaches to make the experience inclusive by introducing a grass porous paving zone for universal accessibility. Additionally, we have proposed to fabricate a variety of metal band-aids or mending plates that can be installed as the material will evolve and weather over time. This is a view of the intertwined nature of the playscape and grafted apple tree. As you can see, it is no longer clear what is tree and what is art. It is both in our minds. Without strong partners, it is possible to realize anything. We have begun working with Jerry from Mount Auburn and Sean from the Arboretum to advise and begin the front-end work necessary to realize the project. Unilam, a widely respected glulam fabricator, has provided insight to both the fabrication and material sourcing needs. If selected on the project, we would like to further build our team with experts and interested community members. Alongside this is a proposed budget breakdown. We believe, if awarded the project, that likely there will be a need to modify the scope and location of the project with all stakeholders' input. We believe that inherently, however, within the project concept is flexibility to adjust the proposal based upon further development and content. And lastly, this is a night rendering of our project with integrated neon LED so that it transforms from day and night. Here are some information about our firm. We look forward to hearing community feedback and comments from the review committee. Thank you very much.